Hi there, my name's Lee, I work for Micro Scooters, and today I'm just going to give you a little brief overview on some troubleshooting around folding and unfolding aluminium scooters and some things that you might be able to do at home to be able to rectify that. Right, there's a number of potential issues that you could come across with regards to folding and unfolding. We've got the push button here, and that push button is designed to release these locking pins, spring-loaded locking pins within the folding block, and they should be spring-loaded. You can see it's locked in position, that's spring-loaded, so that works. But I'll show you how to deal with that in a little bit later. The other one is these actual spring-loaded pins in the folding block. They should be moving in and out. Another potential issue is on the actual holder plates. You see here where the scooter comes up and it pushes these pins in, there's like a little leading edge on the inside in there. Now what I've done is I've taken a still photograph, and we'll get that put into the video, of showing some wear marks around this leading edge here, and that potentially will stop the this push button being retracted in there. So that's a potential issue. Another potential issue is the locking clamp not adjusted up correctly, and I shall show you how to do that. And the other one is the locking clamp has come so loose that the actual pin has come out of the side there, and again I shall put an insert of a picture to show you what that looks like, and I'll show you how we're going to rectify it all. Firstly, with this push button, if you find that seized at all, then all we need to do is we're just going to undo that. It's a 13mm spanner, open-ended spanner, and we're just going to undo that, and that should move freely up and down quite freely. If it doesn't, what you can do is just get a bit of WD-40, just a gentle spray inside, and what we'll do is just going to give that a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a clean, and the WD-40 will wash out any debris and dirt. And then a little bit of 3-in-1 oil, just a couple of drops inside there, just to help it a little bit of lubricant. Not loads, because the more we put in, the more potential there is for it to attract dirt and debris. So once we've done that, it moves freely, and then what we're just going to do is we're just going to put that back in again. And some of the adult scooters have one of these push buttons on the other side as well. So we'll repeat that on the other side, but for this one, it's just on the one side. So that's a potential issue with regards to the push button. Another potential issue you might find is if the locking clamp has been allowed to become unadjusted too much. The spring pin here, you can just see it has just clipped out. I'm going to put an insert of a close-up on the video, so you should be able to see that a little bit closer. But there's a couple of ways you can do it. Sometimes you can just get a screwdriver or a pick and just try and push that in, and push that pin back in so it goes back in place, and then what you'll need to do is adjust it up. If you can't do that, then that locking clamp needs to come off, and I'm going to show you how we're going to get that locking clamp off. Right, to be able to get the locking clamp off, I've turned the scooter around the opposite side to the clamp, and you'll see this is the adjuster on this side here. Now we need to make sure that that is screwed in as far as we can get it, because then that exposes a little C-clip which is just inside here, and you may not be able to see it, but I'm going to put an insert of it close up so you can see what we're looking at, and that needs to come off. So I've just got a little bit of a pick here, and just be careful where they go, because they do tend to ping off a little bit. There we go. The pin's out of the way, and then what we do is we just undo it. And the easiest way to do it is just if you put a little bit of pressure on the pivot point of the clamp there, press it in with the thumb, and just undo it this side. And the adjuster comes off, and we can pull out the locking clamp and the spring and the plunger from the other side. We've got all our bits there. Right, so before we're going to put that back on again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you another couple of potential issues while we've got the scooter deconstructed. So I'm going to take the handlebar off of the front. and that is by taking this pivot bolt out here. It's two 5mm Allen keys that you'd have got with the scooter, and we're just going to undo them. So there we go, we've got the scooter deconstructed. As I said before, with some of the potential issues, these spring-loaded buttons here sometimes get a little bit stiff. So again, what we can do, a little bit of WD-40, just give it a little gentle squeeze down there. And again, this isn't really to lubricate, this is more to clean out. So whilst it's in there, a couple of presses up and down, it'll flush out any dirt and debris. Make sure it moves freely, and then once that's done and all the WD-40 is out, 3 in 1, and just a couple of drops, again just to prevent any build up of any dirt and dust, just a couple of drops in there, and just give that a rub through. Do that for both of them. Again, on the adult aluminiums, they may well have the spring-loaded plungers on both sides, so if you've got that, you need to repeat that on both sides. We just need to make sure that's all okay. A general clean up of the folding block will always help. And what we use in the workshop is this GT85, and we'll just give that a gentle spray on both sides, just as a bit of a silicone spray, and that will just help the lubrication process as it folds and unfolds. With regards to the other part and the holder plates, I did mention these leading edges, and I know it's really difficult to see, but you might just be able to see one here. It's a leading edge, a groove here, and there's some on the inside, and again on the adult ones they will be on the other side as well. But you can see on this example I've got here, there's some real gougey marks on this leading edge here, and that will prevent that spring-loaded plunger being depressed. And unfortunately, the more you try and do it, the worse that's going to get. Now there's a couple of ways that we can do this. Is you can replace the whole holder plate, and we've got them in stock and you can order them for us, or sometimes if the grooves are not too bad, you can just get a gentle round file and just give that a nice few strokes up and down, so you get rid of any high spots and any burrs, and that should be able to give you that nice little leading edge to go back onto the spring-loaded plunger and help push that down again. So that's a couple of potential issues there. So what we need to do now is put the scooter back together again, making sure we're paying attention to prevent any further issues with regards to folding and unfolding. So we're going to get the handlebar stem, I'm just going to put in the pivot, so that goes through that way. And what you'll find with this pivot screw is it screws against itself, so it doesn't go tight with regards to the holder plate. So it's screwing against itself, because if it was tight, that would prevent the movement backwards and forwards. So that's tight against itself, so the bolt's nice and tight, but it's just as you'll see, it can move round that way, which this is telling me to do. I'm just going to lock that up into the locking position, and what we're going to do now is we're going to put the locking clamp back together again. Just for clarity and some feedback that we've had, we're just going to make sure that we're going to get this all back together the right way. So the pin and the spring go in there, and we just need to make sure that when we put the clamp on, we're actually putting it in so the clamp sits the right way. So we're going to put the plunger cover on, and we just need to make sure that when the clamp goes in, when it's in the locking position, it folds upwards and you can see the Micro logo. So that's the way it goes. Not this way, because you don't get enough tension on it. It has to go that way. And when we're going to put the adjuster on the other side, As you can see, this adjuster's got a little shoulder on the top there. You might just be able to see that, the shoulder, and the shoulder goes in. The shoulder goes inwards. So when you see it, when you screw it in, there's a little rubber grommet that goes around here, and you should be able to see that on the outside. So there we go. We're just gonna, and when you're tightening this up, it's better if you have the clamp unlocked and you've got your thumb against that pivot point and you push that in. That just gives you a little more purchase to be able to do that. And then what we do is we're just going to stick the pin back in place and then back it off. We get that nice. That's it. So it's maybe a little too stiff. Take it off. There we go. Perfect. So there's some potential things that you can do at home to resolve any locking or folding and unfolding issues. There's no real substitute for maintenance. Just make sure all this area is always kept clean. Make sure the bolts are always kept tight. Because if this adjuster, this should be checked quite regularly. If that comes undone, then you will have potential issues with that pin and that spring on the other side, like I showed you. If you have any issues, you can call us here at the workshop, and spare parts are readily available from the website.